like the video.
In August of last year, I made 2 episodes talking about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I figured I would just combine them, cut some of the fat, fix some of the editing mistakes, and go ahead and drop the 2-hour cut for you all. So, hope you enjoy.
Derapy. I hope you find some peace of mind in this lifetime.
Tell them the truth.
I hope you find some paradise.
Tell them the truth. Tell them you're...
I feel like there are a few big themes that are consistently explored throughout this album. Family, generational trauma, which we will be talking about in depth later, grief, unhealthy coping mechanisms, of course, the duality of being. I feel like there are multiple parts to every person, but most of them aren't explored this much in depth within an hour. For example, I'm a big stepper, but I'm also Mr. Morale. I'm Derek, and I'm pretty straightforward, and I'm pretty articulate.
But there's also Editor Derek, and frankly, we could be doing better sometimes.
Kendrick's contemporaries have tried to explore these things in their albums, some moderately successful, like J. Cole's K.O.D. That album talks about coping with pain in healthier ways. Essentially, the thesis is meditating over medicating. I don't think it's that simple, but it's a fair endeavor. Drake's album, Certified Lover Boy, failed to show a softer side of him because it's bloated and unfocused, and at times the songs are incredibly misogynistic. I don't know whether it's supposed to be a parody or if it's actually supposed to be his legitimate and vulnerable feelings. Some songs are good. Most of them are gross. Then, For All the Dogs, sounds like it was supposed to be a song. It was supposed to be an album about being a scoundrel, but also he's like a dad, and ideally, as he's growing and his child is growing, he should be maturing, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Kendrick's Mr. Morale is pretty focused. One thing I noticed listening this morning was its focus on family. I don't think having songs that have mother in the title and father in the title and auntie in the title are a coincidence. I just don't believe that's a coincidence at all, actually.
There is no such thing as a coincidence.
United in Grief serves as a good thesis to the album because it immediately opens the door to the idea of grief. Kendrick discusses therapy, setting appointments with psychologists, him openly stating, I grieve different. He talks about the things that he buys, the things that Dave buys, the things that Baby Keem buys, because that's how he felt he could cope with the issues he was dealing with. From the pressures of fame, the problems in his relationship with God, etc. Some say it's possible that each track is a therapy session. What a coincidence.
Derapy.
This feels like the perfect podcast for it. So I do want to move on to N95. And whoa, what is that? That's a banger alert.
Hello, new world, all the boys and girls. I got some true stories to tell. You're back outside, but they still lied. Whoa, yeah.
To the few dozen of you who knew about my podcast before this summer, the lies told by some of our government and health officials are things I will never forget. My brother and I's favorite saying is, people forget.
They do, though.
I like how Kendrick starts this song, you're back outside, but they still lied, and he doesn't have to go into great detail like I did, assuming my editor doesn't cut it.
I had to.
So the beat goes crazy, obviously. It sounds grand and large and triumphant, but it's also upbeat. Kendrick says if you take off the Wi-Fi, the money phone, the car loan, the weird-ass jewelry, you're actually ugly.
Oh.
You're ugly as fuck.
Ow.
He talks about people being fake deep and fake woke, and he could be referring to a number of things. I'd like to assume he's referring to Black Lives Matter. We're currently in the midst of a Black Lives Matter off-season is what I like
We
to
still
call it.
are.
I think about the Black Lives Matter off-season a lot because when the news isn't telling people to care about black issues, believe it or not, I'm still black every day. I think about that a lot, actually. Like every few weeks, I post on Facebook and on Twitter, and I say, man, Black Lives Matter off-season is running a little long this time around, and nobody responds to it. You know why? Because they're filled with guilt. Because unless somebody is telling them to care about a black person dying, it doesn't actually matter to them. And that's okay. It's okay to not care about certain issues. I just don't like when people pretend that they care when it's trendy to, and they post those stupid fucking black squares. Anyways.
Bro, relax.
The flow in the second verse goes crazy.
Oh, you guys are gonna love this.
The world in a panic, the women is stranded, the men on a run.
Okay.
The prophets abandon the law. No. The prophets abandon the law, take advantage. The market is crashing. The industry he snapped. The third verse. No. The third verse. What? The third verse gets the assist from Baby Keem, and their chemistry is basically 2012 LeBron and Wade. So it caps off the track incredibly. In 95, it's just a 10 out of 10 song. It's a fun listen, but it also has great messages snuck in. Let's talk about the next one. Worldwide Steppers is a perfectly fine song. I find the frequent inclusion of Kodak Black to be a bit unnecessary, but that's really just my opinion. Like, he's just not my kind of artist or human being. Worldwide Steppers compares human beings to zombies, which is very intriguing. Childish Gambino does something similar on the song Zombies from the incredible album Awaken My Love, which I'll probably talk about in depth someday, or maybe just a song or two from there. But in this case, Kendrick's zombies may refer to those with no self-control. They crave things, and they let these things make them simple-minded and make bad decisions. It also works because this was likely written during the Panda.
The Pandy.
Where people are very germophobic.
Try again.
They're germophobic.
There you go.
And they're avoiding people like the plague, basically. Kendrick talks about how he was a zombie. He's text messaging bitches until his thumbs hurt, which is just a hilarious line. He speaks openly about his potential sex addiction, his infidelity, and how much it hurt his partner. By the way, this is also likely the song that Drake used as a reference to how Kendrick isn't married to Whitney solely because he prefers white women, which is like funny, but it's probably not true. Like, I doubt that's the main reason. Related, kind of. There's this funny line where Whitney asks Kendrick if he has a problem, and he answers with, "Yeah, I might be racist."
You what?
So he talks about something that is fascinating, and I've heard no other artist talk about, and it's something that actually resonates with me personally. And hear me out. We're gonna go like off the rails for a bit, but I promise it's related. So believe it or not, white people didn't used to be down with the brown at all. My dad's dad grew up in an America where it was perfectly acceptable and basically legal to be openly racist towards black people. The progress is remarkable, but people forget how not long ago that was. My parents, who grew up in the 70s and 80s, dealt with significantly more racism than I ever have. Like, the worst I get these days is just being pulled over all the time for just like driving while black. And, you know, a litany of YouTube comments telling me that I don't sound black because like I speak so well, which, you know,
It's kind of racist.
is kind of racist. But what's the point? Kendrick using racism as an explanation to his girl as to why he's banging white chicks may sound ridiculous,
Because it is.
but like, I get it, because when I was growing up in the late 2000s and early 2010s, being black still wasn't as cool as it is right now. Like, white kids' parents treated me differently. The white kids obviously treated me differently. In fact, I remember specifically, this was around like, actually a little over a decade ago, I asked this girl to prom. She happened to be white. I wanted her to go. She wanted me to go. And at this point, like, just to set the stage here, this isn't a flex because high school doesn't matter, but I was junior class president at this point. Now, the only reason I say that is because what would give any parent the indication that it will be a problem for their daughter to go to prom with me? I'm relatively popular. I was voted by my classmates to be class president. I have good grades. I play sports. There's literally nothing wrong with me. Her parents said no. They just didn't want her to go with me. They never gave me an explanation, but like, what possibly could the explanation be? I'll give you one guess.
Chocolate? Chocolate! 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 Chocolate!
So by the time I got to college, the idea of being able to like engage physically with white women, like in an intimate way, like, I feel like it definitely affected me in like a subconscious way. Like, I'm not saying I woke up every day in college like, let me smash on some white girls for the dead homies that never could. But there was like something internal working, I feel like, in the back of my brain. I don't know. It just felt like I was achieving something like greater, not because like a white woman is better than any other woman. No. But it just felt as if like I had been denied this thing, or people have been trying to deny me this thing for the majority of my life. My dad, his brothers, my grandfather, his brothers, probably, like, everybody's told you, don't go near them, don't do this, it's not legal, it's not right, don't mix like that. And for me, I felt like, you know, I don't know, like, I can't really explain that, But when we talk about themes of generational trauma and how your parents and your grandparents and your family and culture and history impact you in ways that you don't realize, I really do feel like that's at play here. Now, to be clear here, him using this as justification for cheating on Whitney is fucking ridiculous. Like, I could just imagine Whitney finding out that like he's been unfaithful, and he's like, listen,
Stay with me now.
you don't understand. Growing up as a black man and being surrounded by other black men, that we're denied these things, you know, it's kind of ingrained into my DNA, you know, is it wickedness or weakness? She'd be like, boy, if you don't get, like, I get it, having sex with white women is a way to stick it to old racist white people, but like you're in a relationship, like, dude, relax. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I went on a whole crazy tangent. Worldwide Steppers is a fine song. Like, I don't find myself going back to it a lot, but you know, it's cool. Let's talk about Die Hard.
I pop the pain away, I slide the pain away. I pop the pain away, I slide the pain away.
Die Hard is a bit of a pop song. It sounds like it was built to be a little bit more digestible for the masses, like maybe it could hit the radio at some point.
The radio?
A lot of the song isn't Kendrick, so I'm going to mainly talk about some of the lyrics that pop out and just my overall feelings towards the track. The hook is one of the many bits that could be addressed towards Whitney or his family or his fans. It talks about not being too late, setting demons straight, and obviously staying down for him while he gets his stuff together. I really enjoy the instrumentals also towards the back half and end of the track. And the part where Kendrick is like, can I open up business day? A little, you're late or not? I found that to be like kind of a unique rhyme scheme, and I appreciated the delivery. And also the performance by Blast and Amanda Reifer are awesome. And that shimmy, shimmy, cocoa, that just lives in my head rent free. I don't have a ton more to say about the song. I know every time I go through a song quickly, there's like 7 people in the comments that are like, he barely talked about my favorite song. It's gonna be okay. A lot of people really wanted me to do a deep dive on Father Time, and the time is now.
You really need some therapy.
Real nigga need no therapy. Fuck you
No,
talking
no,
about?
you sound stupid as fuck.
Shit, everybody's stupid.
Yeah, well, you need to talk to somebody. Reach out to Eckhart.
As a black man who didn't want to go to therapy because there's this stigma surrounding it, as if the only reason you should go to therapy is if you are insane or need to be prescribed medication, or if you have problems that are so terrible and so traumatic that no one could ever possibly help you with them and it's destroying your life. You don't have to wait until your life is completely in the gutter for you to go to therapy. I did it. I initially thought that when I started this podcast, it would be a good way to basically participate in my own type of therapy, hence why the show is called Derapy. But as wonderful as this show is, and as great of an outlet as it is for me to talk about whatever is important to me or piques my interest, it doesn't give me the same benefit as therapy, because therapy actually has somebody that is trained professionally to like not bullshit you. If you have a good therapist, they're going to like not just validate all of your feelings. They're going to actually tell you what's harmful and like good ways to actually cope with whatever it is you're dealing with, and also help you conquer some of your lifelong insecurities. I'm making this about me. Let's continue the song.
I come from a generation of home invasions, and I got daddy issues, that's on me. Everything them four walls that taught me, may habits buried deep. That man knew a lot, but not enough to keep me past them streets. My life is a plot, twisted from directions that I can't see.
I love how this song begins because it sounds like these first 2 lines are completely at odds with each other, but they actually both apply and are both fair. So I come from a generation of home invasions, which basically sounds like immediately he's like, this is why I am the way I am. This is what I came from. And immediately he says, and that's on me. Eventually you get to an age where despite the reason for you being how you are, you have to take accountability for these things, regardless of whether they're actually your fault or not. And nothing helps you do that like therapy. If you're listening to this, someone did something or said something to you when you were young. And in case nobody told you this, that's on you. Not because you deserve it and not because you should be glad it happened or want more. But when Kendrick says it's on you and when I'm saying it's on you, it is basically on you now to decide how you're going to process that and move forward. Are you going to internalize that and let it become something that defines you, or are you going to find a way to push forward or push past it?
Daddy issues all across my head. Told me fuck a foul, I'm teary-eyed. Wanna throw my hands, I won't think out loud, a foolish pride. If I lose again, won't go in the house, I stayed outside. Laughing with my friends, they don't know my life. Daddy issues made me learn losses, I don't take those well. Mama said that boy is exhausted, he said go fuck yourself. If he give up now, let's go costing. Life's a bitch, you could be a bitch or step out the margin. I gotta quit.
Reading these lyrics have me laughing because it's literally me. Like, I've been playing basketball unorganized for over a decade, and I will not call a foul, like, no matter what happens to me. When people slap my elbow in the middle of me going up for a layup, like, I just won't call it. I don't know where I learned that from. I don't know where I internalized that. I don't know what happened to me growing up, but all these situations where I was a kid and I was playing with our friends in the neighborhood, or if I was playing with friends from school, whether it be football or basketball, I was always taught, it always made sense to me, like, no matter how much you get hurt, unless it's literally keeping you from walking or playing, like, if your arms work and your legs work, like, you literally can't cry about it. I don't know why I'm like that, but that is not like a good way to operate. Daddy issues ball across my head told me fuck a foul is so funny because I'm just thinking about somebody chucking a ball directly at your dome and you're just like, nah, man, fuck a foul. Let's just play check up. It's like, nah, dude, it's okay to call a foul. Mama said that boy is exhausted. He said go fuck yourself is funny either way. Him telling Kendrick's mom to go fuck herself because she's concerned about Kendrick's level of fatigue is ridiculous. But also, if he's talking to Kendrick, it's also ridiculous because Kendrick is a child. Most children don't have any like long-term foresight, so they don't understand how being exhausted will affect them like tomorrow or in a couple of hours, or if they have anything else to do that day. So if you can see that a child is like physically exhausted, like visibly exhausted to the point where like their parent is concerned for them, the idea of you just being like, man, fuck you. It's just so ridiculous.
I'm charging baskets and falling backwards, trying to keep balance. Oh, this the part where mental stability meets talent. Oh, this the part he breaks my humility just for practice. Tactics we learn together, sore losers forever. Daddy issue.
Charging baskets keeps with the basketball reference, and Kendrick is falling backwards while trying to keep balance. He's past the point of exhaustion, but just won't take the L, and his dad is just going to keep pushing him. Breaking someone's humility for practice is insane. Like, my dad didn't push me like this when it came to sports, but I did have some football coaches growing up that were like way too comfortable pushing kids to run and do workouts to the point where like they'd be vomiting over and over again and they would pass out from heat exhaustion because we're in full pads in the middle of summer, just like running nonstop, like laps around a field, like hitting each other at full speed. You can't tell me that some random dude that teaches 7th grade history learned that from anywhere else but a shit ass dad. Like, bro, get these kids some water.
I need it. Sore losers forever. Daddy
Early
issues.
morning wake ups, practicing on day offs. Tough love, bottled up, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase. Early morning wake ups, practicing on day offs. Tough love, bottled up, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase I need, no chase I need.
First of all, this is probably the best hook on the album. Ironically, the first time I heard Sample was on a Drake song. It's on this old school joint called The Motion. You guys have probably never heard of it. But I think that Drake and Sampha have collaborated multiple times. I think he was also on that song 4422 on More Life. Can you tell I'm a Drake fan?
Oh, hey, you with the afro. Give it a rest. Beat it. Put the music back on.
Anyways, yeah, they've collaborated before. I love rap songs with melodies infused in general. I'm just a sucker for a good hook. Early morning wake up, practice it on day offs is obviously like another reference back to kind of like the sports anecdote that was referenced earlier. Practicing no day off, so it's just like another allusion to the fact that like men don't get time off. They don't get to relax at all. A drink made neat has no ice. It's not watered down in any way. You're just supposed to let the liquor hit you. Put hair on your chest. Bottled up, no chaser is like a really good way to show that when things hit you as a man, you're supposed to just bottle it up, which is not good at all, by the way. No chaser, neat, stay strong. No ice, take the shot, take the pain.
Uh-huh.
No chaser.
Yeah.
Feelings.
No, I get
like
it.
alcohol. You get it. It's good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Let's.
Put the music back on.
I got daddy issues, that's on me. Looking for I love you, really empathizing for my relief. A child that grew accustomed, jumping up when I scrape my knee. Cause if I cried about it, he surely tell me not to be weak. Daddy issues, hit my emotions, never express myself. Man should never show feelings, being sensitive never helped. His mama died, I asked him why he going back to work so soon. His first reply was, son, that's life, and bills got no silver spoon.
You know, as a young man, regardless of your age, you generally just want your father to be proud of you and the man that you're growing into becoming. When I was a kid, my dad didn't tell me he loved me a ton. And it's like, he would say it, you know, maybe every couple weeks. You know what? To be fair, it was probably like 2-3 times a month. Like, my dad was awesome. Is awesome. He didn't say it as much as I planned to say it to my kids, and he's not bad for that. But I think that he probably just didn't come up that way. He probably had more learning to do. And what's funny is he says it all the time now. Every time my dad and I talk on the phone, he always says he loves me before he hangs up the phone. We never talked about it. It just started happening. And I guess like that just goes to show that no matter how old you get, you're always still growing and learning, you know, and you just start to cherish things more like that, I suppose. Kendrick talks about jumping up when he scraped his knee because crying about it would make him weak. Relatable. I'm not out here trying to let people know that I've been injured. That shit is for women. I'm joking. Like, are you okay? Like, if you're hurt, like, please tell someone. Kendrick would go on to rap about not being sensitive, not expressing himself, hiding emotions, and how when his grandma died, his dad got right back to work because, yeah, you know, I mean, yo, granny dead, but also rent's due, little buddy. Processing grief is obviously important. Crying is definitely legal. Feelings should not be bottled up. Otherwise, you're just going to end up blowing up at somebody randomly, like in the middle of a Tuesday because, you know, like the chicken is cold or something. I don't know.
The chicken is cold.
Sometimes life doesn't allow space for the processing of grief, but you have to make time for it. Otherwise, it will not magically go away on its own, despite how I feel about my check engine light. You know, that's just not reality.
Daddy issues, fuck everybody. Go get your money, son. Protect yourself. Trust nobody. Only your mama know. This made relationships seem cloudy. Never attached to none. So if you took some likings around me, I might reject the love. Daddy issues kept me competitive. That's a fact, nigga. I don't give a fuck what's the narrative. I am that nigga. When Kanye got back with Drake, I was slightly confused. Guess I'm not mature as I think. Got some healing to do. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
I think we still have more healing to do.
Egotistic, zero giving fucks, and to be specific, need assistance with the way I was brought up. What's the difference when your heart is made of stone and your mind is made of gold and your tongue is made of sword, but it may weaken your soul? My niggas ain't got no daddy. Grow up overcompensating. Learn shit about being a man in disguise as being gangster. I love my father for telling me to take off the gloves, cause everything he didn't want was everything I was. And to my partners that figured it out without a father, I salute you. May your blessings be neutral to your toddlers. It's crucial. They can't stop us if we see the mistakes. Till then, let's give the women a break. Grown men with daddy issues.
Kendrick talks about his father's attitude and how it did contribute to his competitive behavior. This would partially contribute to the destruction of Drake in the year of our Lord 2024. Heart is made of stone and your mind is made of gold and your tongue is made of sword, but it may weaken your soul is honestly some of the most poetic shit I've ever heard. Like, name another rapper doing it like this. Kendrick also talks about how many people see being gangster as being synonymous with being manly. J. Cole also made a great point about this at the end of his album called For Your Eyes Only. Spoiler alert, J. Cole says the manliest thing that you can do is be there for your girl, be there for your kid. I concur, Jermaine. This does not take away from the fact that we will not let you forget about Grippy.
Kissing emoji, she missed me. When she see me, she said she gon' strip me. She gon' chew on this stick like it's Wrigley.
All I want to know is what he meant by chew on this stick like it's Wrigley. What stick does he want her to chew on? That's all I want to know, okay? Is this your goat? Kendrick ends his verse by saluting those who grew up well with no father figure and says the issues discussed in this song are putting a lot of the burden on women that men are interacting with, which is definitely true. Bottling up emotions, not being sensitive, not acknowledging pain, being toxic, and refusing to go to therapy won't just hurt you, but will hurt anyone who's trying to love you. Men who have unresolved feelings or trauma aren't just the ones that are always like picking fights during pickup basketball games or are ready to fight after a few too many beers at like a baseball game or like a Buffalo Wild Wings during a UFC fight. Like they're also low-key like just like torturing their romantic partners with their complete inability to communicate their feelings. They're treating women like an object to dominate, manipulate, and possess instead of like a partner that they can confide in.
Stop it. Get some help.
As someone who's married, being able to complain to my wife about stuff is probably one of the coolest things ever. And if you don't have a man or a woman in your life that will let you vent about what's going on, therapy is a great resource. If you have like a full-time job with benefits, a lot of like really good companies have like employee assistance programs. If you don't care about that though, if you're not trying to get into therapy, I mean, there's also Derapy.
Derapy.
Leave a comment about something that annoys you. Anyways, this song is incredible. Shout out Frosty1443 for pushing me to break it down. Let's move on. We're running long. Also, if you think I'm about to spend my precious time on this beautiful blue and green planet of ours breaking down this rich interlude by Kodak Black where he's just randomly rambling about getting his dick sucked after a show and asking truthfully, I believe, what he's doing on an album with a legend like Kendrick, I'm wondering the same thing, Kodak. We're gonna move on to some real music.
Taking my baby to school, then I pray for her. Cause you bitches ain't never been cool. Writing testament, painting pictures, put me in the Louvre. That's a definite universal shift. I'm in the groove. A celebrity do not mean integrity, you fool. I'm a good man, shake your hand. Firm grip rule, 72 wins, lost 10. Ballin' with the flu, more than 2 M's for a show, but add another 2. Little man, the big man's the GT down and flipping the kickstand.
I feel like this song is slept on just because it's like a low-key song. I like how the first line is taking my baby to school, then I pray for her. Man's got his priorities right, you know. Everybody's rich off money, he's rich off family. I also like the MJ shout out. 72 wins, 10 losses, balling with the flu. Celebrity do not mean integrity, you fool. Every time I hear someone earnestly call someone a fool, I think about Goku hitting Frieza with that angry ass Kamehameha and just screaming, "You fool." You fool! Shit is tough.
Rich nigga, broke phone, trying to keep the balance, I'm staying strong. Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. Hey.
This man was not lying. I want to do it. We don't have time.
Nah, fuck that shit. Hit him one time for the one time.
Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. Any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him.
Who could have predicted that the most threatening thing to come from any Kendrick Lamar album is simply him saying that he will make you into a song? Okay, sorry, back to Rich Spirit.
Bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with you no more. I'm fasting. Bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with you no more. I'm fasting. The morality can wait. Feedback on low latency. I'm glitching from the face. That's my thoughts grow sacredly. I'm running out of space.
This song mentions Whitney once again, and I can't help but stress again how insane it is that someone who we all know is top 3 most important human being in the world to Kendrick, the person he talks about openly on this album, is on the cover of the album and is in multiple songs, like lends her voice on multiple tracks. Drake's over somewhere like, oh yeah, he's probably beating her and raising a child she had by another man. What's your source, Drake? Trust me, bro. Anyways, Rich Spirit is very cool. Kendrick talks about the value of a strong family, moral compass, and religious foundation. He also raps in this really funny accent that I just want you to hear before we move on.
Frat brother, real nigga, that brother. We dress up the score, give me that brother. Spirit medium, on rap brother. We headed there now, are you strapped, brother?
The next song is called We Cry Together, and it can pretty much be summed up by this.
Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bitch.
Nah, fuck you, nigga.
Fuck you, bitch.
Nah, fuck you, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, nigga. Fuck you,
Fuck you,
nigga. Fuck you, fuck you.
Fuck you,
Fuck you,
bitch.
nigga.
Fuck you, bitch.
Fellas, if you're out there and you're listening to that and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know what I would do in that situation, I can tell you from experience, okay? Just look your girl in the eyes and just be like, hey, calm down. Sorts her out every time. The last song on disc 1 is called Purple Hearts, featuring Summer Walker and Ghostface Killah.
Tippy torn and I'm walking. Rolling sevens, I ain't ready for no coffee. I know y'all love it when the drugs talking, but shut the fuck up when you hear love talking. Shut the fuck up when you hear love talking. If God be the source, then I am the plug talking. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
You don't shut your...
Rolling sevens means you're feeling lucky, but it also means you're rolling with God. Let me hear you.
Amen.
You're going to hear a lot of people telling you to shut the fuck up in the next couple of minutes, so, just prepare your ears for that. It's just going to be one of them.
This my undisputed truth. My life is like forbidden fruit. My bitch know better than I do. A woman's worth. I barely went to church. I'd rather fast with you than fuck it up. Fucking with skirts, cause I'm rational. A nigga still go be a nigga. Emoji heart, my family pictures. Two-stepping away from rappers. I don't trust their true intentions. I'm not in the music business. I've been in the human business. Whole life been social distant. Hoes like when you not tripping.
My life is like forbidden fruit. My bitch know better than I do. I love the reference to the story of Adam and Eve. Kendrick's like,
well, actually, my girl knows better than me.
Speak for yourself.
I like the idea of being in the human business instead of the music business. Like, I'm doing this for the people, not Universal Music Group, not Lucy and Great. I'd like to say that I feel similarly. Like, I definitely care more about the people consuming the art, like, rather than YouTube or Spotify or whatever makes traditional artists or creators successful.
The party, who said they saw me? Crown on by Molly, wrist on your body. They go judge your life for a couple likes on a double tap. Them hoes is sorry, they all get body. I'm blessed that you have an open heart. I'm blessed that you forgive. I'm blessed that you can learn from a loss. I'm blessed that you heal. I'm blessed one day that you attract somebody with your mind exact. A patient life, flaws bless them twice, and they'll bless you back.
Kendrick is a party ducker, for sure. Gotta be easy when you're a size 7 wearing pipsqueak. I'm so sorry. I'm joking. This is a joke. Please do not turn me into a song. I want to believe that people that are in their mid-30s and have a girl and a kid aren't still out here partying. Like, dude, stop. You're too old for that.
Looking at you, P. Drizzy.
They gonna judge your life for a couple likes on the double tap? Yeah. I'm not trying to get judged on the gram anymore. I never really post anything unless it's like a very monumental life event. And people actually do make it their full-time career to like judge people and hate on people. I mean, I do it occasionally, but it's kind of my job. I'm getting paid for it. Kendrick would go on to perform the hook with Summer Walker. Not gonna lie, I did not expect them to sound like pretty good together. They do also tell you to shut the fuck up when love is talking, but in harmony, okay?
Shut the fuck up when you hear love talking.
Then we get a verse from Ghostface Killah of all people, and he also has his own unique message to share.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay. I really enjoyed the first half of this album. Honestly, I would have been okay with the ending right here with Purple Hearts. The emphasis being on love and commitment, everyone telling you to shut up and let the love talk was powerful. I hear you. We're going to be doing the second half in a few days.
Psych! Yo, quick posture check. If you've been hunched over this entire time, could you please stop hunching? Also, please
like the video.
Also, if you're enjoying the content and you really, really want to support the channel and you want to make sure that Editor Derek continues to eat, consider becoming a member. This episode of Derapy is not monetized, so if you want to support the show and Derek's full-time endeavor of podcasting for a living, you can join the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, or become a member of the YouTube channel. You can join for as little as $1. I mean, how much do $1 cost? All right, back to the show.
We may not know which way to go on this dark road.
Mr. Duckworth.
All of these hoes make it difficult.
Session 10. Breakthrough.
Whitney pops in again to say Session 10 breakthrough, which confirms that Kendrick has actually been going to therapy despite his reluctance at the beginning of Father Time. The voice saying Mr. Duckworth, I believe, is somebody in the role of a counselor. And I also like the timing of Whitney coming in right after a chorus of people are saying, all of these hoes make it difficult.
One of these lives, I'ma make these right with the wrongs I done. That's when I unite with the father, son. Till then I fight. Rain on me, put the blame on me. Got guilt, got hurt, got shame on me. Got 6 magazines that's aimed at me. Done every magazine was fame to me. It's a game to me with the bedroom mat. Sleep, I ain't never had affairs with that. What's fair when the hearts and the words don't reach? What's fair when the money don't take things back? It's rare when somebody take your dreams back. I care too much, wanna share too much. In my head too much, I shut down too. I ain't there too much. I'm a complex soul. They layered me up, then broke me down. Immorality's dust, I lack in trust.
This motherfucker talking that talk.
First song, first verse, we're immediately introduced to Kendrick as Mr. Morale. The man is spilling. He immediately talks about wronging rights, taking blame, the guilt, the hurt, the shame that he feels. He questions what fame has done to him as well. And he discusses overthinking and shutting down, which I think if you've ever dealt with anxiety and the crippling nature of it, you can relate. I've dealt with that on a personal level because you become so overwhelmed with what you should be doing and where you should be that you end up just not doing anything because you feel like you can't mess anything up if you're not doing anything. But things get better, of course.
This time around I trust myself. Please everybody else but myself. All else fails, I was myself. Outdone fear, outdone myself. This year you better won yourself. Mask on the babies, mask on the op. Wear masks in the neighborhood stores you shop. But a mask won't hide who you are inside. Look around, the reality's carved in lies. Wipe my ego, dodge my pride. Look myself in the mirror. Amityville, ain't seen nothing scarier. I fought like a pit bull terrier. Blood I shed could fill up aquariums. Tell all my angels carry them. Every emotion been deprived. Even my strong points couldn't survive. If I didn't learn to love myself, forgive myself 100 times.
Sometimes the only one you can trust is yourself, and we'll be hearing multiple references that talk about reflection as Mr. Morale learns to prioritize his own health. He talks about mask on everyone, but a mask not hiding who you are inside. I remember during the Panda, people making memes about someone being seemingly their type until they literally took off their mask, which is a great analogy here. Kendrick talks about looking himself in the mirror and what he sees is scaring him. If you're doing therapy properly, you will learn more about yourself than you ever have. And he also talks about fighting like a pit bull terrier, which I think is like so smart and probably a very overlooked line. Also, shout out ASPCA. Dogfighting is fucking gross. Yeah, anyways, this beat switch is crazy.
I love when you count me out. 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 Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fucking it up. How you gonna wear my trust when the lies run deep? How you gonna binge your love when the bed don't sleep? Deep beat, crash out feelings in the middle of the street. Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fucking it up.
I actually feel like Kendrick is talking to himself when he says, how you gonna win my trust when the lies run deep? And I'm like, lying to yourself is probably the worst kind of lie that you can tell. Trying to keep yourself from embracing your flaws is seriously unhealthy behavior. Like when you know that there are things about yourself that you need to address and you constantly push them down and pretend like they're not real issues, that is a short-term solution to a lifelong problem, pal. Like you gotta talk to somebody about that.
When you was at your lowest, tell me where the hoes was at. When you was at your lowest, tell me where the bros was at. 3:30 in the morning, scroll through the call up. Ain't nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off.
So we get another mirror reference. Kendrick talks about being at your lowest, and oddly,
strange enough,
the hoes are nowhere to be found.
What?
And can anybody relate to that? Have you noticed when you're feeling down that the hoes, in fact, are not around? Bravo, Kendrick. All right, so we're gonna skip ahead to the last verse here. Sam Do, by the way, is killing it with the harmonies and the background vocals. But for time's sake, we're gonna go ahead and move forward.
You said I feel better if I just worked hard without lifting my head up. That left me fed up. You made me worry. I wanted my best version, but you ignored me. Then changed the story. Then change the story. Good energy in the room, drop the location, please. Anybody out there for the one when I'm frustrated? Trying to keep my good conscience in rotation. Thoughts in my head, they living there with no. Trying to keep my good. I made a decision, never give you my feelings. Fuck what you from. Fuck what you from a distance. I put it on the devil when they fall short. I put it on my ego, Lord of all lords. Sometimes I fall for down.
Kendrick talks about how he thought he'd feel better if he worked hard without lifting his head up. Some people feel like if they throw themselves into their work, it can keep them from having to embrace their problems.
Psych!
That is not true. Kendrick ends his verse by saying that some people blame the devil when they fall short. He blames his ego, and this is so real. Like, I grew up in the church, and people would constantly talk about how, like, they would scream and shout, like, the devil put this person in my life. I had to ask God to take them out. It's just insane. They were like, the devil made me lose my job. He didn't want me here. He's trying to move me on to something else. It's like, nah, man, that's actually just you. It took Kendrick a while, like, till he got to his 30s, but he also got there. Like, me personally, I rock with the big man upstairs, and I know that the devil is a lie. But sometimes people use these forces as an excuse. Like, nah, dude, you got to look in the mirror, get it together. That's not the heater in the basement. That's you that's needing changing.
Oh my God, the bars!
Let's move on to Crown.
You walk around like everything is in control. Favor come with favors and you can't say no. Go out the way to make the coin available. That's what I call love.
First time I heard this song, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to skip like Velas. But we're going to get into the lyrics. We're going to judge it fairly, and we're going to see like what's actually good. Favor come with favors, and you can't say no. Real. Going out your way just for some cash is real. And compromising, being what a lot of people attribute to like successful love, is legit. So, you know, there may be some gems. We might just have to dig really deep.
The closest one's afraid to say they need some time. Turn around is life or death, but you don't mind. Go out the way to say you made the compromise. That's what I call love.
Love.
For the time it'll go and I'll be there when somebody needs you. You say no, and all you done gives them amnesia. One thing I've learned, love can change with the seasons. And I can't please everybody. No, I can't please everybody.
Kendrick talks about how when the time comes for you to be there and you're not, the one time you say no gives people amnesia, and all of a sudden they don't care what you've done. I think it's honestly him probably talking about the expectations from fans and potentially people close to him, but it could also be talking about his label. Who knows? It's kind of up for interpretation. But like, you do great things and people praise you and they're there for you. You're there for them, and you like give them your heart and your art, like everything. They love you. And then the second you stop putting out, it's like, boom, they don't care what you've done. Like, To Pimp a Butterfly, oh, you think that's the greatest album ever? Well, it doesn't matter, because that was like a decade ago. That was forever ago. Drop Again. I never thought about it that way. Like, Damn, even, like, was such an incredibly vulnerable album. But the fans, they change like the seasons. Like, we want more. And sometimes people look back on these albums and all they want to do, and I've been guilty of this too. It's like everybody's like, oh, what's the best album? What's the worst album? Which one didn't resonate with you well? It's like, it's not like Kendrick is putting less effort into any of the art that he's putting out. It's not his fault that you love one album so much more than the other that you're willing to argue with other people about how you would rank them. It's like, I'm sure he's doing his best every time. And this is something that I feel like people that are creating can definitely relate to. Like, the song's definitely not for everyone. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I really enjoy listening to the song. It has a ton of replay value. But like I think it's boring. Like, the song sounds boring. But that doesn't take away from the message. Like, the message is in the lyrics. You just got to like dig a little bit.
Wait, you can't please everybody. No, I can't please everybody.
Very interesting that this is kind of the first time that I've heard Kendrick really talk about not being able to please people in an album, because he's been famous. He's been doing this for a while, and he's finally just gotten to the point in like 2022. He's like, I don't think everybody's going to like everything. And he's right, because I barely like this one. But I'm glad that he doesn't care, because he shouldn't.
They idolize and praise your name across the nation. Tap the feet and nod the head for confirmation. Promise that you keep the music in rotation. That's what I call love.
I think it does kind of get to the point where you start to look for validation in what you are able to offer people at any given time. And it looks like in this verse, when he's saying that they idolize and praise your name across the nation, tap the feet and nod the head for confirmation. He's like, I'm looking for confirmation, and what I feel as love is people enjoying the music. And I think that over time, he kind of like works his way out of that, because I've definitely felt that way at times, especially before people started listening to this podcast of mine. I would take very, very seriously if I was like, 100 people listen to this episode, but only like 12 people listen to this one. Do people not care about me anymore? Like, you start to take it personally. Like, Kendrick doesn't feel like a certain level of validation if he feels like people aren't rocking with the music, but you have more value than what you are able to give to the world creatively. And that's definitely something that I talked about in therapy, and I imagine Kendrick probably did too.
Heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown. To whom is given much is required now. Heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown. To whom is given much is required now.
I imagine it's tough bragging and boasting about being the best and being the king, and then people treat you like the best, like a king. You call yourself King Kendrick. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's King Kendrick. And then people are like, where are you at, King? And you're like, I'm tired. I don't feel motivated. My girl's mad at me. Tax man on my ass. Like, everybody wants another classic, but like, I'm struggling with like writer's block or whatever. And then you have to wrestle with the position that you put yourself in as an artist, as an entertainer, as a savior, as a king. It's heavy, and that's why the song sounds so heavy.
Love gon' get you killed. Love gon' get you killed. I can't please everybody. Can't even please myself. I thought a new car would help. But when the new car get old, I'm sure they want something else. I can't please everybody. Can't please everybody.
Crown is a good song because even though it's low and sad and is all about the heaviness of the crown, it does talk about looking for ways to satisfy yourself when the people aren't satisfied with you. Like, I definitely understand the theme of the track and its direction. Like, it could definitely appeal to someone who feels like they aren't appreciated when they aren't doing exactly what's expected of them. And today was the first time I really took the time to understand the perspective. Like, I get it. I really do. It just sounds depressing as fuck. Anyways, here's Silent Hill featuring Kodak Black.
Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why you keep fucking with me? You gon' make me jump out my skin, believe me.
Fair warning, I've had beef with this song for a while because something about the way that the beat comes in, like that boom. If you have whatever device you're listening to up on full volume, that bass makes it feel like it's going to bust your speakers, and like not in a good way. So I just wanted to give you fair warning because I don't like it, and it's a little bit annoying to me, but that's just my opinion.
Push these niggas off me like, push these bitches off me like, push these niggas off me like, pushing the snakes, I'm pushing the fakes, I'm pushing them all off me like, pushing them all off me like,
We had to get a song like this here. Count Me Out was great, but started off kind of slow and soft, and Crown was just so depressing. So this had to be a little bit of a banger.
I be immune to shit, tucking the broom and shit, done with assuming shit. Know you a joke, my answers are close, I holler at the moon and shit. Know the results, the ballot is in, man, I'm about to boom again. You funny, dog. Peekaboo, can't hide behind your money, dog. A week or two, I meditate on running lost. Swerve, 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 shake the currents off.
Can I be honest?
Why would you lie?
I know this song turns up a little bit later, but this may be the weakest Kendrick verse so far on this entire album. Like, this sounds like he's back on the Big Steppin' type feel again. He's immune, he's tucking the broom. They want to assume, like, okay, he's close to his ancestors, he howls at the moon. The delivery just feels kind of like weak, and peekaboo can't hide behind the money. Like, I understand the bars, I just find them to be a little surface level, and the delivery is like uninspired.
Why are you slandering my goat?
Sue me. We're skipping the hook and we're headed to the next verse.
Head up, chest out, silence. I'm stressed out. Shh, be quiet. I'm stressed out, stressed out, stressed out, stressed.
You ever hang out with someone that you know that you're smarter than, so you kind of code switch just a little bit so they don't think you're being pretentious? Because I feel like Kodak Black being on this song kind of made Kendrick not go as hard, but that's just a theory.
Pick my daughter up, she need all the love, I need all the love, I mean all of us. It's like 6 o'clock, bitch you talk too much, you making it awkward love. I mean, it's hard enough.
But like, what are we doing here?
I mean, it's...
They don't fuck with me even if they could. Pull out the stick, hit a bitch with the wood. First part roll was break in the hood. Don't worry about us over here, we good. The AP Roman numeral. Everybody go, I need pharmaceuticals. I ran my whole conglomerate. I was just mapping shit out in the cubicle.
So, no one's fucking with you? Cool. Pull out your stick and hit her with the wood? Dope. Bragging about a Rolls Royce, a watch, and having drugs. I mean, okay.
Suicide coat is a funeral. Track hard lunch like a slingshot. Big ol' ruby diamond on my pinky finger. That bitch look like a ring pop. Money on my mind, money on your head. Can't ride 3 times when you coming through the jets. Red Cross kept a nigga fed. In the studio with K-Dot, fresh out the feds. Yeah, you niggas can't stand the rain. Niggas don't stand a chance. Yeah, sharp like candy pain. I spin the bin in the bins. I call the bill off of Google out. I'm the type to get my shooter wet. I had to survive off a tuna pack.
If you're a fan of Kodak and this verse, that's cool, man. You're allowed to like and care about things that I don't like and care about. All I'm going to say is, happy for the kid. He's on an album with Kendrick. I think Kendrick is trying to prove some type of point by having him here, bragging about having a coupe and a diamond pinky ring that looks like a ring pop. Like, okay, that's fine. He's got a Chevy with the candy paint. Like, all right, riffraff. I just don't care. And I know someone is going to hit me with a 5-paragraph essay about how Kodak being here is like this very detailed and beautiful exploration dissecting the duality of man. All right, man. Like, let me know how deep it all gets by breaking down the beat the dope with a fork, I'm whipping up Sudafed. Like, all right, if you think there's something there, that's cool. I'm skipping to the next song. I don't care.
We don't.
The next song is the Savior interlude, and
It's Baby Keem.
because there are much longer and more powerful songs ahead, I'm not going to play this one. Surely it's nobody's favorite song of the album because it's literally an interlude that has no Kendrick. All I'm going to say is it's a great interlude. Inspired performance. Baby Keem kills it. Whatever role Kendrick wanted Kodak to play on this album, I don't understand why he didn't just have Baby Keem fill those spots instead. Like, some lines that stuck to me, the 1st and the 15th is the only religion. I also just like grandma shooting niggas blood on the highway probably isn't meant to be funny, but like, just picture your grandma just like emptying a clip on a rando and then, you know, get back to me. This year I did 43 shows and took it all home to buy a casket. Like, that is really sad. He's referring to his uncle here, and that's something that's definitely worthy of dissection. Like, being famous and successful and being on the road with women and money and all the adulation and affection that you get from a crowd when performing, just to have to go home and spend some of that money on like a funeral is like really heavy stuff. Baby Keem can be like a pretty funny artist and pretty wild, but his tone is appropriate here, and it feels like spoken word just as much as like any rap performance. I'm impressed, and it's an interlude that I definitely don't skip when I'm listening to the album. So we're going to move on to Savior, which, if I remember correctly,
Is a banger.
Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior. Cole made you feel empowered, but he is not your savior. Future said get a money counter, but he is not your savior. Brian made you give his flowers, but he is not your savior. He is not your savior.
very first time I heard the intro for the song, I was already rubbing my hands like Birdman. Like, I think it perfectly captures the essence of the song really well. And it's okay to show love to people that you admire, but these people are not your guide. They're not your God. Like, they're just people. There are some people that are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that are still legitimately idolizing extremely flawed people. Like, it's okay to admire someone and take inspiration from them, even take something from their art or their music or their podcast or their game and be like, wow, that motivates me to be a different person. Wow, that gives me a different perspective. But their life is not yours, and you have to make your own way.
Mr. Morale, give me high five. 2 times cynical, defendant, judging my life. Backpedaler, what they say you do to cha-cha. I'ma stand on it, 6'5", from 5'5". Fun fact, I ain't taking shit back. Like it when they pro-black, but I'm more Kodak black. Tell me where the money at, ay, where the homies at. Universal call out, I can members only that.
Kendrick opens by saying he's Mr. Morale, and you should high-five him for coming to the light. He says his critics are hypocrites and says that they backpedal and do the cha-cha slide. I feel like the inclusion of Kodak Black as Kendrick saying that the person who many of you don't like has a lot in common with the man who you once deemed your savior, Me.
Because I'm Kendrick Lamar.
Love it when they pro-black, but I'm more Kodak Black is basically his way of saying, oh, you love black people, you care about them, Black Lives Matter. Well, what about this loser, huh? I rock with him. Do you?
No. Hey, CC. Wait a minute. Ben aquí. C'est la vie. I tell the whole truth from A to Z. Ay, show me you real. Show me that you bleed. Ay, hello, crackers. I seen niggas arguing about who's blacker. Even blacked out screens and called it solidarity. Meditating in silence made you want to tell on me.
Meditating in silence made you want to tell on me is directly calling out No Name, who in a deleted tweet was calling out Kendrick and people like him for being silent during the glorious season of George Floyd. Like, it's Kendrick's responsibility to end racism or something. He also calls out people that were posting those godforsaken black squares, which, as a black person, like, I get it. Like, you're trying. Some people think that doing something is better than nothing. Let it be known, it's currently Black Lives Matter off season, and because it's not trendy, no one is currently posting anything about unarmed black people being shot by the police. And let me just ask you this. Is it because it stopped entirely, like black people are not being bothered by police at all anymore? Or is it possible that it doesn't feel right to post anything about it because it's not on your timeline? It's not trending. The news didn't tell you to be upset about it. What do you think? Anyways, here's the hook.
Are you happy for me? Really? Are you happy for me? Smile on my face, but are you happy for me? Yeah, I'm out the way. Are you happy for me? Beach, are you happy for me? Really? Are you happy for me? Smile on my face, but are you happy for me? Yeah, I'm out the way. Are you happy for me?
This hook is so funny. Like, every time I accomplish something and share the news, this is in my head. Like, are you actually happy for me? Like, is this real to you? How does this really affect you? Also, this beat is really cool because it just feels like more and more is being added in a very subtle way. Also, another fire Baby Keem inclusion.
He's Baby Keem.
Bite they tongues and rap lyrics, scared to be crucified about a song, but they won't admit it. Politically correct is how you keep an opinion. Niggas is tight-lipped, fuck who dare to be different. Seen a Christian say the vaccine mark of the beast. Then he caught COVID and prayed to Pfizer for relief. Then I caught COVID and started to question Kyrie. Will I stay organic or hurt in this bed for 2 weeks?
Last time I talked about the parabola, people were hot. They thought I was calling it a hoax because I didn't want to wear a mask on a basketball court by myself. I am not out here saying anything is wrong with science or medicine or there's, the pharmaceutical industry is compromised. All I'm saying is I know somebody that got the shot and they literally exploded. Okay, but like in all seriousness, Kendrick bringing up Kyrie as someone who is idolized by people but might be sharing bad information is like very appropriate. Like me personally, when I'm thinking about my personal health, I'm not thinking, man, I wonder what Paul George thinks. Should I buy this car? Man, let me check out Joe Biden's Twitter. Oh, wait. You have a cold? Well, look, peep game, all right? I was listening to Joe Rogan, right?
If you don't shut your skin tone, chicken bone, Google Chrome, no home, flip phone, this.
These people are just people. Like, you can be intelligent and talented and articulate and kind, but this is Derapy. Like, I know a ton about podcasting and journalism and sports and some music, but like, don't take what I say here as Bible. Like, I'm just a guy.
Do you want peace? Then watch us in the street. One protest for you, 365 for me. Vladimir making nightmares, but that's how we all think. The collective conscious, calamities on repeat.
One of the coolest things I saw during the protests of 2020 were people who weren't posting about anything in regards to the movement on social media, but like some random person would just catch them at a protest with everybody else, like just doing it for the love of the game, which is like very cool. Kendrick popped up a few times amongst the people, just doing it because he felt it like within himself. I'm gonna keep it a $1.54. Like, I love black people, and the Oink Boys have given me a lot of trouble, like, over the years. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been pulled over for, like, no reason. They're just like, you got anything in the car? We saw you cut somebody off and not use your blinker. You only slowed down when you saw police. And I'm like, dog, everybody slows down when they see police. Like, that does not mean anything crazy. People asking me to search my car, I always let them search the car because ain't nothing in there. But yeah, like, I just don't I'm not trying to get hit with those rubber bullets. I'm not trying to get hit with batons. I'm gonna just make my little podcast, make my voice heard that way. Like that's how I can get the word to the most people. Like me marching in the streets, like I am no MLK, sir. I know who I am. I know what my strengths are. I'm just not about that action.
The cat is out the bag, I am not your savior. I find it just as difficult to love thy neighbors, especially when people got ambiguous favors, but their heart's not in it. See, everything's for the paper. The struggle for the right side of history. Independent thought is like an eternal enemy. Capitalist posing as compassionate be offending me. Yeah, suck my dick with authenticity. Yeah, Tupac dead, gotta think for yourself. Yeah, heroes looking for the villains to help. I never been sophisticated, same face. Being manipulative, such a required taste. I rubbed elbows with people that was for the people. They all greedy, I don't care for no public speaking. And they like to wonder where I've been, protecting my soul in the valley of silence.
Arguably the best line of the song is the last. Wonder where I've been, protecting my soul in the valley of silence. That's so cool. It's like throwing yourself in the middle of all this discourse, making statements, pledging money, inspiring action. Like it's stressful stuff. And is it worth it? Like, if Kendrick comes out right after the death of George Floyd with, like, a battle plan, many of his fans are going to love it. But people who don't know him are going to be like, look at this rapper out here trying to lead this revolution. Like, wasn't he just rapping about robbing and killing people? It's honestly much better, in my opinion, to just, like, donate quietly, protest without the cameras, like, fulfill whatever internal obligation you have without any public spectacle, you know? Heroes looking for villains' help, I actually think he might be talking about himself. Like, you remember at the end of The Black or the Berry on To Pimp a Butterfly where he's talking about feeling like a hypocrite because gang banging will make him kill somebody blacker than him? Like, y'all do not know Kendrick like you claim you do. If he's telling you he's not the right one, like, just believe him. Like, Kendrick is consistent with this because in Euphoria, actually, he talks about people faking for likes and digital hugs, and he's just not about that. Great song, great hook, great message, great beat. Let's move on.
Oh man, it's Auntie Diaries.
My auntie is a man now. I think I'm old enough to understand now. Drinking Parmesan with her hat turned backwards. Motorola pager, off-white guest jacket. Blue Air Maxes, gold chains and curl kits. 93 Nissan wax job, the earliest. Big social, big personality, vocal. Played the underground verbatim and stayed local.
I think it's safe to say that most people's negative opinions on trans people come from a place of ignorance. I'm almost 30 now, but a lot of the views I had on the LGBTQ community when I was a teenager and younger were simply coming from a place of ignorance. It was something I had to grow out of. I think the first two lines from Kendrick are big on this song. My auntie is a man now. I think I'm old enough to understand now. The song starts from a place of acceptance, which I think is good. Like, it started off on a good foot. Despite this, Kendrick does the hard thing, which is admitting to his not so good views as a child.
My auntie is a man now. I watch him and this girl hold their hands down. Tipping the avenues under street lights made his. Thinking I want me a bad bitch when I get big. They hug on the corner like California came cold. Hand all of her skirt cars whistling down the road. See, my auntie is a man now. Slight bravado. Scratching the likes from Lotto. Hoping that she pull up tomorrow so I can hang out in the front seat. 6x9s keeping the music up under me. My auntie is a man now. Asked my mama why my uncles don't like him that much. And at the parties why they always want to fight him that much. She said ain't no telling. Niggas always been jealous because he had more women.
Kendrick, like many of us, is a product of his environment. He sees his auntie.
Wait, she's
a man now.
Okay.
Kicking it with chicks, getting action, moving like a man who's got it together. Happy to still hang with him. He sees people hating on this person, though, like treating them unfairly, and just like a curious child, simply wants answers, which I think we could all take a lot from. It's like, why get emotional about something and immediately choose to involve yourself in it in a super positive or super negative way when you could just simply ask somebody that might have more knowledge about the situation? But also the irony of these people being jealous of a man that used to be a woman is insane, by the way. It kind of reminds me of that Dave Chappelle joke, like where you switch and then you're immediately the best. Like, of course people are jealous.
More money and more attention made more envy. Calling them anything but broke was less offending. My auntie is a man now. I think I'm old enough to understand now. Drinking Parmesan with her hat turned backwards. Back when it was comedic relief to say faggot. Faggot, 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 we ain't know no better.
So this is arguably the biggest controversy that came from this album. Like, Kendrick using this language, it made me feel some kind of way too. Like, some would argue that you don't need to use harmful language like this to prove a point. I don't really feel one way about it or the other. I mean, mainly because I'm not trans, and I don't think that it's a good use of your time or energy to get offended on behalf of other people, generally speaking. Like, I can see why some people would think it's uncalled for. I could also see why some people think like it's okay. It's art. He's trying to spread a message. He's trying to make a point. I'll just say, I think it ultimately adds to the song, especially when you hear the conclusion of it. But if you're a trans person or ally and you're upset, like, I hear you, you know?
Elementary kids with no filter. However, my auntie became a man and I took pride in it. She wasn't gay, she ate pussy, and that was the difference. That's what I told my friends in 2nd grade. She picking me up from school, they stare at her in the face. They couldn't comprehend what I grew accustomed. We pull off bumping quick like it was nothing. My auntie is a man now, what a relationship. I grew up fast, I needed no one to babysit. He gave me some cash, then gave me some game. Sherry freshener on the dash, I never complained. She even cut my hair at the pad, was loving my fade. The first person I seen write a rap.
I love Kendrick's description of this person, like someone who just gives you haircuts and someone who inspired you when you saw them writing a rap. I think it's important to judge people by their actions and behavior, like as opposed to their identity. Hot take, maybe. I don't know. But I find this narrative to just be like thoughtful and genuine, and it just feels like somebody's telling me a story as opposed to like trying to push any type of agenda or whatever.
Say write a rap. That's when my life had changed. House full of demos, smoke stuck on the window. Cameras on the microphone, all women and men know. My auntie was a man now, we cool with it. The history had trickled down and made us ignorant. My favorite cousin said he's returning the favor and following my auntie with the same behavior. Demetrius is Marianne now.
So Kendrick transitions, pun not intended, to talking about another relative of his who took inspiration and decided to live what they believe is their truth. His cousin Demetrius, who goes by Mary Ann now because they saw how people accepted Kendrick's auntie, who has become a man now.
He's more confident to live his plan now. But the family in disbelief this time, convincing themselves he ain't living discreet, he's fine. They said they never seen it in him, but I seen it. The Barbie dolls played off reflection of Venus. He built the wall so tall you couldn't climb over. He didn't laugh as hard when the kids started joking. Faggot, 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 we ain't know no better. Middle school kids with no filter, however, I had to be very mindful of my good cousin. I knew exactly who he was, but I still loved him. Demetrius is Marianne now.
Kendrick talks about going from elementary school to middle school and how he becomes more mindful as he grows, which ideally we should all be doing. He talks about how many were shocked by the change, but not him because of his personal experience, how he saw this person behave and move as he grew up with them. And this is where my opinion might come in a little bit heavy. I understand why people might be hesitant to embrace children who like see themselves as the opposite sex. It has to be kind of scary for a parent to embrace that, but I personally don't see any issue with an adult who chooses to live their life in their own way, like go by a name that they choose as opposed to like their parents' wishes. Because like at the end of the day, it's your life, and God willing, like you're going to outlive your parents. And I just think that like considering you only have like one trip in this universe, like you only get to live one life, I think that you should frankly be able to do whatever you want with your body or your name. I don't know, unsubscribe if you want to. I just think you should be able to do what you want to do. Like that's generally my position on like most things when it comes to like personal choice, but whatever. Some would say like this isn't Christ-like. I don't think it's like a good use of your time to be super worried about other people's personal decisions, but whatever, who am I?
I mean, he's really Marianne. Even took things further, changed his gender before Bruce Jenner was certain. Living his truth, even if it meant see a surgeon. We didn't talk for a while, he seemed more distant, wasn't comfortable around me, everything was offensive. But I recall, we both had a sick sense of humor made raw, but time changes all. Demetrius is Marianne now. Remember church Easter Sunday, I sat in the pew, you had stronger faith, more spiritual and enthused with living life straight. Which I found ironic cause the pastor didn't see him the same. He said my cousin was going through some things. He promised the world we living in was an act on abomination, and Demetrius was to blame.
Some churches are good, some churches are bad. To actually point at an individual and be like, hey, you are the reason the world is going downhill right now, like that is an insane thing to do. That doesn't sound very love thy neighbor type beat to me. Somebody please hit me with a Bible verse that says if your mom calls you John and you want to go by Jesse, you gotta burn for a minute. Like I haven't seen it. I don't know. The Jesus I know, I highly doubt would be preaching with the people, see a chick with like kind of broad shoulders and be like, Ayo, feel like the last time I saw you, you were a man doing man things. Now you want to act up Skedaddle.
I just don't think that's what Jesus would do.
I am also not your savior.
I knew you was conflicted by the feelings of preacher man, wondering if God still call you a decent man. Still you found the courage to be subservient just to anoint, until he singled you out to prove his point, saying, Demetrius is Mary Ann now. Church, his auntie is a man now. It hurt you the most cause your belief was close to his words, forcing me to stand out. I said, Mr. Preacher Man, should we love thy neighbor? The laws of the land of the heart was greater. I recognize the studies you was taught since birth, but that don't justify the feelings that my cousin preserved. The building was thinking out loud, bad angel. That's when you looked at me and smiled, said thank you. The day I chose humanity over religion, the family got closer, it was all forgiven.
The rising of instruments as Kendrick gets confrontational with Preacher Man is dope. I love the line choosing humanity over religion. Having religion as a moral foundation can be great, but I do think when it causes you to exclude people, even your own family, like that's kind of where I would draw the line. Condemning awful behavior is one thing. Like nobody is perfect. We all sin. I think we should strive to live better and behave better and treat people better and just be more disciplined generally. But I think most church-going humans, with a soul, probably wouldn't choose to actively like demonize someone who has a kind heart that simply just wants to look different or go by a different name. I also think the line, it was all forgiven, is really nice because I feel like that's kind of the core of Christianity, at least as a faith, is regardless of how somebody chooses to live their life, if they aren't like actively harming people, like if they show like remorse for some of their more sinful actions, which like I personally, like I just personally believe that if you were born a certain way and you choose to live your life a different way than the like general way that people expect you to behave from when you were born, like I don't see that as like detrimental to society. So like I'm just not going to get up in arms about that. But yeah, I think the forgiveness bit is super essential to like the song's theme.
Bombs, I ain't know any better. Mistakenly, I ain't think that you know any different. See, I was taught words was nothing more than a sound, if ever they was pronounced without any intentions. The very second you challenged the shit I was kicking, reminded me about a show I did out the city. That time I brought a fan on stage to rap, but disapproved a word that she couldn't say with me. You said, Kendrick, ain't no room for contradiction. To truly understand love, switch position. Faggot, 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 we can say it together, but only if you let a white girl say nigga.
Kendrick finding common ground with this person as the music swells is a wonderful conclusion to this track. Them bringing up the instance where some white girl in 2018 was rapping with Kendrick on stage and said the N-word and then he got upset about it is like a pretty funny thing to reference. I think this is like a mostly fair comparison. I read on Genius that apparently the N-word isn't said anymore after this on the album, which I'm almost certain is intentional. I find the track to be pretty thought-provoking, honest, and mainly positive. I find it a little weird that he ends the track by using the F slur like 3 more times after apologizing for dropping F-bombs. Like he's saying it and then he says, oh, I'm sorry about all the F-bombs, and then he does it 3 more times, which I think is, one of the choices of all time. It's like you stop just to say it again, but I don't know. I think not using the word is like pretty easy. I also think not saying the N-word is easy, and I'm black, so tell me what you think of the song and how it affected you. It's definitely not the type of song that has a lot of replay value for me, but I admire its vulnerability, and I think that a album that talks a lot about family and the importance of it, and I really just do appreciate the bar where he says like he chose humanity over religion, because I think sometimes people can use religion as an excuse to be kind of like vile, and I completely reject that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. The next song is Mr. Morale, which I think is probably one of the most underrated songs on the album.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I felt this shit.
I just wanted to say that this is like one of my favorite sound bites ever. I actually use it a lot for my show. I actually have it saved. I'm just going to drop it in right here.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life.
I'm pretty sure it was just a dude complaining about like the Dallas Cowboys, and it is so... It's just so good. Kendrick is a man that knows his memes. Yo, if you're a Kendrick fan and you've seen him in concert in the past couple of years, does he perform this song? Because I can only imagine how hard this must go, like when he is live. I really hope that he does that. I might try and find a video of that somewhere. Let me know if that's on his set list, because like that must go crazy.
Not your father, just detox. My calling is right on time. Transformation, I must have 1,000 lives and like 3,000 wives. You should know that I'm slightly off, fighting off demons that been outside. Better known as myself, I'm a demigod. Every thought is creative. Sometimes I'm afraid of my open mind.
First of all, this sounds like a leftover beat from the Black Panther album. Like it's bumpy, it's futuristic. I just rock with it. Kendrick name drops Enoch, his son, and he says that he's detoxed and he's basically ready to cook. The energy and delivery matches the beat. The lyrics are also like big and galactic to match as well. The hook is also hard too.
Shit on my mind and it's heavy. Tear you in pieces cause it's way too heavy. My diamonds, the joker is heavy. More life to give on demand, are you ready? Who keep them honest like us? Who in alignment like us? Who gotta heal them or us? Us! When there's no one to call.
This sounds like a prequel to Not Like Us. He's also talking about like how he has a lot on his mind and he has to tell you in pieces because it's so heavy, which makes sense if you think of the tracks like therapy sessions. We also get another feature from Sam Dew, who I think honestly just meshes with Kendrick really well. The bridge from Tiana Leone also really matches the energy of the song well. We're gonna go ahead and skip to Kendrick's next verse.
Uzi, your father's in deep meditation. My spirit's awakened, my brain is asleep. I got a new temperature, sharpening multiple swords in the faith I believe. I think about Robert Kelly. If he were molested, I wonder if life for Felly. I wonder if Oprah from Closure, the way that she posted the hurt that a woman carries. My mother abused young, like all of the mothers back where we from. SSI bury family members. At the repast, they serving Popeye's chicken. What you know about black trauma? Heffing is kicking back, it's another genre. Tyler Perry, the face of 1,000 rappers using violence to cover what really happened. I know somebody's listening.
There's a lot here. So
this feels like a bit of a trauma dump that happens so fast, but it's kind of appropriate here in the middle of the title track. First, he mentions R. Kelly and talks about how Robert was taken advantage of as a child. And he ponders if R. Kelly would have turned out differently had these things not have happened to him.
I mean, probably.
Of course. This is a little contradictory to what he talks about in Father Time, where he's like, I got daddy issues, but that's on me. At some point, as an adult, you have to take responsibility for your own behavior, regardless of what happens to you. Like, everybody knows the story, like the old cliche, where it's like, bullies are usually getting bullied themselves at first, and like the touched turn into the touchers or whatever, but like that doesn't excuse the actual behavior. And I don't think Kendrick is trying to do that, but he like wants you to think about it. And honestly, like, I'm good. What happened to R. Kelly as a child is unfortunate, but that makes no difference to the victims of R. Kelly. Kendrick then mentions Oprah Winfrey, who also talked about being taken advantage of as a child. And I think it goes without saying that like clearly she took it upon herself to handle it differently and then not take advantage of others. Mr. Morale then just casually throws in that his mother was also a victim, like she was abused young, like many others in his community, and we'll definitely talk about that more in the next song. Kendrick also mentions Tyler Perry, who opened up about his experience of being abused to Oprah, actually, when he was a child, and how Perry's reaction to that was similar to the attitude that Kendrick portrayed in Father Time. And it's kind of fascinating how Kendrick will just like rapid fire through these things, like these very heavy topics, and he just kind of assumes that you'll get the reference. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you're like, maybe this could use like a little bit more time and care, like you kind of explain what you're trying to get at by mentioning these things, because it also kind of aligns a little bit with a statement from somebody on his team that was talking about how if you want to take down R. Kelly's music, you have to take down Kendrick's too. Not the best look from TDE, but you know, Kendrick would obviously come out and say that wasn't him directly, but still.
Past life regressions to know my conditions is based off experience. Karma for karma, my habits insensitive. Watching my cousin struggle with addiction, then watching her firstborn make $1 million, and both of them off the grid for forgiveness. I'm sacrificing myself to start the healing.
Kendrick talks about sacrificing himself to start the healing and how members of his family have to go off the grid for forgiveness. He also talks about Baby Keem, who references addiction in their family as well on the Savior interlude. This is just another song that puts family at the forefront as it dives into childhood trauma, like manifesting itself and having to be confronted head on as an adult. Like, bro, this album is not for children. It's basically what I'm saying. I think that Kendrick talking about sacrificing himself is actually referring to like the image that he has of like this strong savior type figure that people see him as. He's like, in order for me to move on as an individual, like for the sake of my own health, I have to expose the fact that like I'm a deeply flawed person.
Say, hydrate, it's time to heal. Say, you're frustrated, I can feel. Huddle up, tie the flag, call the troops.
This high energy song really feels like it's just an interlude to prepare you for the absolute devastation that is Motherized Sober. It kind of sets the table for a conversation about generational trauma, how it's personally affected Kendrick, and how he's embraced and seemingly overcome it. So, here we go.
I'm sensitive, I feel everything, I feel everybody. One man standing on two words, heal everybody. Transformation, then reciprocation, karma must return. Heal myself, secrets that I hide, buried in these words. Death threats, ego must die, but I let it purge, pacify. Broken pieces of me, it was all a blur. Mother cried, put their hands on her. It was family ties, I heard it all. I should have grabbed a gun, but I was only 5.
Kendrick talks about the helplessness he felt as a 5-year-old hearing what was happening to his mom. You can tell by his somber delivery that it's obviously an extremely uncomfortable thing to be recording.
I still feel it weighing on my heart, my first tough decision. In the shadows, clinging to my soul as my only critic. Where's my faith? Told you I was Christian, but just not today. I transformed, praying to the trees. God is taking shape. My mother's mother followed me for years in her afterlife, staring at me on back of some buses. I wake up at night, loved her dearly, traded in my tears for a Range Rover. Transformation, you ain't felt grief till you felt it sober.
Kendrick talks about the weight he feels in his heart and the guilt and grief he experiences in regard to his mother and grandmother. His mother because he felt he couldn't protect her even though he was extremely young, as well as the death of his grandmother, which he says he coped with that loss by trying to purchase a Range Rover. Now, trust me, I know this from personal experience. That doesn't work.
What?
Mainly because I didn't have the money. But Kendrick also says you can't truly experience grief unless you experience it sober, which unfortunately I also agree with. On a podcast none of you have listened to, I talked about how my dog died. We got him when I was 11, and he died a few years back. And I tried denying it, or just not saying the words out loud, not talking about it, drinking, etc. Like, not until I decided to do a stupid podcast about it alone, stone cold sober, cried about it, then I was able to like really begin the process of like healing and moving on. And that was just a dog.
Wish it was somebody, anybody but myself. I wish it was somebody, anybody but myself.
I remember looking in the mirror, knowing I was gifted, only child, me for 7 years, everything for Christmas, family ties. They accused my cousin, did he touch you, Kendrick? Never lied, but no one believed me when I said he didn't.
Kendrick explicitly states that his family began questioning him at a very young age about if his cousin had any inappropriate contact with him, to which he said no. But they didn't believe him, and neither did Drake.
Frozen moments, still holding on it. Hard to trust myself, I started rhyming. Coping mechanisms to lift up myself. Talked to my lawyer, told me not to be so hard on myself. He has an aura I hope to achieve. If I find some help, congratulations, made it to be famous. Still I feel uneasy, water watching, live my life in nature. Only thing relieves me, spirit guide, whisper in my ear. Tell me that she sees me, did he touch you? I said no again, still they didn't believe me.
Kendrick mentions for a second time that he wasn't molested. He says he used rap as a coping mechanism, but despite his success, he still feels uneasy about what led him to where he is now.
Mother's brother said he got revenge for my mother's face. Black and blue, the image of my queen that I can't erase. Till this day, can't look her in the eyes. Pain is taking over, blame myself. You never felt guilt till you felt it sober.
Kendrick talks about seeing his mother's face black and blue and feeling guilt. I'm pretty sure this is where Drake had the galaxy-brained idea to attribute this line to Whitney, when Kendrick is very clearly talking about his mother, literally in the previous line. Kendrick then openly admits to blaming himself for what happened to his mom and reiterates that you need to soberly embrace these things without any distraction. We're going to skip the hook and go ahead and begin the third verse.
I was never high, I was never drunk, never held my mind, I need control. They handed me some smoke, but still I declined, I did it sober. Sitting with myself, I went through all emotions, no dependence, except for one. Let me bring you closer, intoxicated. There's a lustful nature that I failed to mention, insecurities that I project sleeping with other women. Whitney's hurt, the pure soul I know. I found her in the kitchen, asking God, where did I lose myself? And can it be forgiven? Broke me down, she looked me in my eyes. Is there an addiction? I said no, but this time I lied. I knew that I can't fix it. Pure soul, even in her pain. Know she cared for me, gave me a number. Said she recommended some therapy.
On the first half of this album, Whitney asked Kendrick the same question if he has an addiction problem. And he's like, I think I'm racist. I gotta have sex with these white women. It's kind of like reparations or something. But now he's out here like Mr. Morale. And he's like, yeah, I think I have some like deep insecurities that probably need to be addressed. And Whitney, being the saint she is like, maybe let's try therapy, you know, instead of just dropping another album. Which he does, but the album comes after the therapy. And it seems like he embraces therapy fully, and that's why it's kind of like at the core of this album and essential to the arc of being just a big stepper, or rather going from being a big stepper to a man of morality.
I asked my mama why she didn't believe me when I told her no. I never knew she was violated. In Chicago, I'm sympathetic. Told me that she feared it happened to me for my protection. Though it never happened, she wouldn't agree. Now I'm affected. 20 years later, trauma has resurfaced, amplified. As I write this song, I shiver cause I'm nervous. I was 5, questioning myself, long for many years. Nothing's wrong, just results on how them questions made me feel. I made it home, 7 years of tour, chasing manhood, but Whitney's gone. By the time you hear this song, she did all she could. All those women gave me superpowers. What I thought I lacked, I pray our children don't inherit me and feel inside track.
Kendrick claims that his trauma resurfaced and is manifesting in a way that damages him and those around him as an adult. My interpretation is that Kendrick wanted to feel control that he didn't as a child. As an only child, the only witness to his mother's abuse and being interrogated by others in his family about things happening to him, this kind of made him question everyone and everything around him. As an adult, he was basically looking for women to have power over. He alludes to this in To Pimp a Butterfly, being conflicted and misusing his influence. He also mentions this in the song Lust on the album Damn, and this is kind of the finale of that. He says these women essentially gave him superpowers, and he just prays that his children aren't caught up chasing the same things, and he's trying to break that cycle. He's also concerned that by the time you hear this song, that Whitney might be fed up and gone, which is just super sad.
A conversation not being addressed in black families, the devastation haunting generations and humanity. They raped our mothers, then they raped our sisters, then they made us watch, then made us rape each other. Psychotic torture between our lives, we ain't recovered, still living as victims in the public eyes who pledge allegiance. Every other brother has been compromised, I know the secrets. Every other rapper sexually abused, I see them daily, burying their pain in chains and tattoos. So listen close before you start to pass judgment on how he move, learn how he cope. Whenever his uncle had to walk him from school, his anger grows deep in misogyny. This is post-traumatic, black families and a sodomy today is still active.
Yeah, this is kind of heavy stuff. So generational trauma really manifests itself in a number of different ways. Kendrick talks about how black women used to be taken advantage of by slave masters. In some ways, they were just using them for sex, but they would also force them to commit heinous acts on each other sheerly for the sake of entertainment, but also for the sake of making sure that they had more workers when they were broken down by the horrors of slavery and the terrible working conditions that they were basically subjected to. But generational trauma also shows itself in different ways, and it can affect black people in their treatment of each other. One of those ways, which I've just never really talked about with anybody but for like 2 or 3 people, if you are a black person and you grew up with black parents and you found yourself on the other end of a whooping, you might think to yourself, like, why is this happening? How come when I talk to my white friends or people about this, they are like completely in awe of this happening? I am of the opinion that this is also a result of generational trauma. We are not too many generations removed from white people literally whipping black people every time they did something that they didn't approve of. And it's not that hard to believe that your grandparents or your great grandparents, the only way that they know to discipline their subordinates, which they're treating their children as for some reason, is by whipping them. I feel like that's a form of generational trauma that I take pride in the fact that I think I'm going to be able to break that cycle. Like, I'm never going to hit my kids with a belt, because what makes me any different from a slave master 100 years ago beating black people with weapons because they're not acting right? So Kendrick kind of refers to that, and it's something that, like, this song really made me think about. I'm like, what behaviors do my parents or my grandparents exhibit that is a direct result of generational trauma? It's like, I don't think anybody has a child and they're just like, I've just accepted the fact that I'm going to have to mercilessly beat them someday if they don't comply. It's not to let them off the hook for that, because like, they just shouldn't be doing it, but it's better to get to the root cause of it. And it takes a really long time to come to terms with these things, because you want to make excuses for it. You want to believe that there's a rational reason for it. And it's hard to kind of accept the fact that this is a result of something that happened long before you were even born. So yeah, this verse just kind of hits differently for me. Also, another example of this is colorism. Oftentimes, black people are turning against each other based off of the shade of their skin tone, which is definitely a result of generational trauma. Light-skinned black people were definitely usually treated with more favor by a slave master because they look more like them than they look like somebody from Africa with much darker skin. And it makes me incredibly sad every time I see discourse online where people talk down people of darker skin tones.
And vice versa.
Like, we just gotta be better, you know? I'm not trying to get up on my high horse or anything here, but like, we have to recognize these patterns of being like very, it's literally when people talk about things that are setting us back years at a time, that's really one of those things.
So I set free myself from all the guilt that I thought I made. So I set free my mother, all the hurt that she titled shame. So I set free my cousin Chaotic from my mother's pain. I hope Hakeem made you proud, cause you ain't die in vain. So I set free the power of Whitney, may she heal us all. So I set free our children, make good karma, keep them with God. So I set free the hearts filled with hatred, keep our bodies sacred, as I set free all your abusers. This is transformation.
Wish it was somebody, anybody but myself. Oh, I wish it was somebody.
I find Mother I Sober to be one of the more powerful and impactful songs I've ever heard. The exploration of generational trauma is something I very rarely think about, and obviously never expected to be initiated from the bitch don't kill my vibe rapper. Kendrick talks about setting himself free from guilt, setting his mother, cousin, and Whitney free to embark on their own journey of healing. One of the most important things I learned in therapy is the power of forgiveness. Forgiving those who have wronged you, but most importantly, forgiving yourself. Allowing yourself to embrace the actions and parts of yourself that have caused others pain as well as yourself. Kendrick conveys that if we don't heal, these wounds will be felt for generations to come. This also continues the mirror bit. Like, although therapy is obviously a great external resource, its ultimate goal is to help you look inward and embrace what's weighing you down internally.
Therapy or derapy?
This is
My
a lot.
God.
I promise. We're
Jesus.
almost done. The last thing Kendrick says is, I set free all you abusers. This is transformation. The worst things that have been done to you, whoever is responsible, you have to forgive them despite not receiving that apology. My parents did and said things to me when I was younger that stuck with me for a decade and a half at least. They never apologized. Even when I tried to bring these things up to them within the past year, it's always like everything we did was out of love. Oh, I don't even remember that. You know, we were doing our best. Having children doesn't come with an instruction manual or whatever, right? And it's like, you can't wait for them to really feel what you felt, because they obviously haven't carried what you've carried, but they're carrying their own things. This other rapper named Quadeca, who most of you have not heard of, has this album called From Me to You, and my favorite song off of it is called Sisyphus, and The essence of that song is that everybody has a mountain of their own. I'm not going to burden my parents, and I don't think that it's a good use of your time to burden your parents by trying to get them to realize all of the things that they've done to you that have stuck with you for a while. They have mountains of their own, right? And you have to be responsible for yourself. You just can't wait for that. You have to let God or karma or whatever you believe in be the judge of them as they move forward in their life. At the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. And with that, we have Mirror.
The pressure's taking over me, it's beginning to loom. Better if I spare your feelings and tell you the truth. Lately I redirected my point of view. You won't grow waiting on me. I can't live in the matrix, rather fall short of your graces. This time I won't trade places. Not about who's right, who's wrong. Evolve the only thing known. Ask me when I'm coming home. Blink twice again, I'm gone.
Kendrick begins the final track by saying the pressure is beginning to get to him, and it's time that he tells the truth. When he talks about falling short of your graces, I'm almost certain he's referring to his fans, just expecting more out of him. He also references The Matrix, which stars one man who's seen as the savior, a role Kendrick no longer wishes to fulfill.
I chose me, I'm sorry. 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 I chose me, I'm sorry.
Also, almost forgot to mention, Kendrick says you won't grow waiting on me, which is pretty cool. It's natural to say you grew up with said artist or celebrity, but realistically, their life is obviously totally different from yours, and it's kind of wild to compare your journey to theirs. There are a shocking amount of people who believe that artists somehow owe them. Like, I bought your shirt, I went to your show, I'm a huge fan. And Kendrick's like, I don't know you, little bro. I really got to work on myself. It's like a very natural decision that plenty of creators make, but it's very bold to actually like put it in your album, especially like at the end of your album, and say it like 30 times.
She woke up in the morning for the daily news. I was so low mourning through the family feuds. Baby, I told your story and laid down all the rules. Still, you won't grow waiting on me.
Mr. Morale reiterates that you won't grow waiting on him. The responsibility is on you to grow on your own. Now, we're going to skip the hook, and we're going to move on to the next verse, which has a ton to unpack.
Cause all of it's toxic. Girl, I'm not relevant to giving no profit. Personal gain of my pain is nonsense. Darling, my demons is off the leash for a mosh pit. Baby, I just had a baby, you know she need me. Working on myself and counseling is not easy. Don't you point a finger just to point a finger, cause critical thinking is a deal breaker. Faith in one man is a ship sinking. Do yourself a favor and get a mirror that mirror grievance. They pointed at me so the reflection can mirror freedom. She told me that she need me the most, I didn't believe her. She even called me names on the post, the world can see it. Jokes and gaslighting, mad at me cause she didn't get my vote. She say I'm trifling, disregarding the way that I cope with my own vices. Maybe it's time to break it off, run away from the culture to follow my heart.
Maybe it's time to break it off, run away from the culture to follow my heart. This kind of reminds me of Good Kid, Mad City, where Kendrick is talking about rap and culture as if it's a relationship. Running away from the culture to follow his heart is obviously him referencing him abandoning rap to focus on himself and his family. He was using some aspects of his career to cope with the trauma instead of actually embracing it. He began the verse by saying all of it's toxic. Personal gain off of my pain is nonsense. He's literally becoming more successful and rich as his personal life falls apart. Like, it's easy to imagine how a relationship with Whitney could become more and more complicated as he tours more and meets more people. And you can see the beginning of this collapse into Pimp a Butterfly, where he's obviously conflicted. And more so in Damn with songs like Feel, Fear, and Pride. Kendrick again mentions how a mirror is needed because faith in him is faith in a ship sinking.
I realize true love not saving face, but unconditional. Where will you let me go? I trust you find independence. If not, then all is forgiven. Sorry,
Sorry I didn't save the world, my friend. I was too busy building mine again. Like, I saw people commenting these lyrics, but I didn't know they were literally from the last verse of the album before this last chorus. I think it's very telling that Kendrick is apologetic about not being who he originally wanted to be, or what he thought people expected of him. Coincidentally, Tyler, the Creator, actually ended his most recent album with a song called Sorry Not Sorry, where he unapologetically states that he's gonna Miles Morales.
Miles Morales? What does that mean?
Do his own thing.
Oh.
Although Mr. Morale over here like knows the best thing he could do was take as much time as he needed to build his life back up, he still feels in a way that he let people down, which is kind of unfortunate. But I also think like it definitely had the best possible ending because it's like he needed this journey of healing kind of to prepare himself, you know, for the war that was to come.
Beat your ass behind the Bible like I watch it.
It's kind of crazy how much a few years can change you, because when this album first came out, I had only been doing this podcast for like not even a year. I wasn't even married yet, and the Panda was still like heavy on people's minds. And in hindsight, I honestly couldn't appreciate this album for what it was at the time. Like, I was just looking for bangers. I was just expecting like another rap album, but now that I've read every lyric and listened to every song with the intention of analyzing it, I can now confidently say that this is my second favorite Kendrick album after To Pimp a Butterfly. Mirror ends this album better than Duckworth, in my opinion. Better than Compton off of Good Kid, Mad City. And I just think that, you know, even though Duckworth is a cooler listen, I just feel like Mirror has more impact. It's more direct. Mother I Sober, honestly, is like a top 5 Kendrick song. It really took me to places that I never thought rap would, and had me talking about things on this show that I never thought I would publicly discuss. But yeah, let me know how that song hit you, because for me it was a lot. The only songs I didn't really care for in the second half are Crown, just because, like, yeah, I understand there's artistic merit there, but like the song's just boring. I'm sorry, I just don't care. Also, shockingly, Silent Hill, which when I first heard the album, I was like, oh, this is a slapper. But now that I listen to it, like, I don't really feel anything. I just find it kind of annoying. I don't really like it at all, for being honest. But this album has 18 songs on it if you don't count The Heart Part 5. And honestly, like, at max, I'm feeling like maybe 2 or 3 skips. To me, that's like an A album. Mirror is such a great closer, by the way. Like, I could go on forever about just the composition of it, like the instruments that are being used, how it's like such this grand finale feeling type song where it just rises and rises. And Kendrick's vocal performance, like the passion in his singing, like, obviously he's not the most like talented vocalist, but like you can just, I don't know, it just like hits you. Like, this man is laying it all on the line. Like, I just love to hear it. I'm gonna stop though. This has taken like half my week. I love this album. It's very underrated. It's not for children. It wasn't even for me like 2 years ago, but what a beautiful album. It was really nice being able to cut those episodes together and kind of listen back to some of the takes that I had. I do not stand on the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is my second favorite Kendrick album after going through Good Kid, Mad City. Good Kid, Mad City is a better album than this album. I am interested to see, though, when I do go back and cover Damn at some point in the next couple months, will I have Damn above Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers? That is the question. But going back and listening to that and going through that entire album was really a fun experience. I will say this, and I'm pretty sure I probably said it in August when this episode initially came out, but reminder, when it comes to these big, long breakdown episodes, they're not monetized, but that doesn't take away from the work that I did in the past or the work that I'm doing now. So if you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member or joining the Patreon. The links will be in the description and pinned in the comment section. Please drop, if you haven't commented something already, which I would find shocking, if you haven't felt the urge to comment anything in the past hour and 43 minutes and 25 seconds, comment your favorite song, your least favorite song, what this album made you feel, and what I missed, and what I pointed out that maybe you didn't know. But yeah, Section 80 is going to be finished up in the next couple weeks, and then we'll probably move on to either Untitled Unmastered or Damn. But yeah, that's all I got. Love you. Mean it. Enjoy the outro.